Hello again, witchy people, welcome back. Okay, so this is the second half of the video that I said that I was just doing a kind of VR because, as I mentioned before, YouTube had not, I didn't know these videos were on YouTube. YouTube had not listed them as an interest for me before, which is quite strange. Anyway, Laurie Cabot on becoming a witch. The video is 10 years old, possibly. I mean, as I'm talking now, I do believe as of March this year, Laurie Cabot would have been 87. I think she's 87 years old. Now, much of what Laurie says, I can agree with to some extent. And even if I don't agree with everything she says, I can often understand why. That would be her point of view. So even if I don't agree, I can understand why. Now, Laurie's career, for want of a better word, has been built on her being the official Witch of Salem, which was a title given to her by the governor of Salem, Massachusetts, Michael Dukakis in 1976, I think it was 76 or 77, after she petitioned him to be noticed and given credit, as she was quite rightly, for her work with underprivileged or disadvantaged children. I think she worked with children with dyslexia, which is where it came from. Now she claims she claims not to be Wiccan because she was a practicing witch long before Wicca became popular, which is kind of weird because I mean Wicca was popular in 1966, certainly, when Sybil Leek did visit Salem, Massachusetts, and did claim that there was already a well-established coven in Salem, as there were in many other places, so Sybil Leek says. So that was in 1966. Laurie Cabot didn't actually start officially calling herself a witch until 1976, according to the voting registry lists. It was 1976 onwards that she began to list her profession as being witch. So that's some background. Now, in this video from 10 years ago, I will try and link it below if I can find it again. Miss Cabot talks about becoming a witch and how to become a witch. And she makes some incredibly valid points. However, she says that you cannot follow more than one tradition. You cannot be eclectic. That these things are wrong. And personally, this is just my point of view, I don't agree with that. Being a hedge witch, I am incredibly eclectic. I don't learn from direct, from traditions and such like, because I don't have people around me. Hedge witches are solitary, usually, just as we are. So, especially in more modern times, with the internet as well, you tend to take bits from all sorts, and because it makes sense to you. And I think that's what it is. If something makes sense to you and feels right, then that should be okay. I apologise for the noises. My dog is under my chair snoring. Oh dear. Anyway, so I don't think that she has a monopoly on stating what is right for every path of witchcraft. For her particular path, yes, of course. She, as I know that she does, oh crikey, I can't remember what her particular path is called, but she has her own path named after herself, the Cabot something. And I said before, it's based on Hermeticism, something like that. Being a hedge witch, I don't I understand Gardnerian Wicca because that's a very, well known. I don't know much about the different paths of Wicca, to be honest. I know a very little, but I couldn't tell you what specifics come from what path. And I think most people that are witches are very eclectic. I think they do take from different traditions and different paths to make something that makes sense for them and makes work for them. Now, Laurie claims not to be Wiccan, but she does. Her first tenet is do as thou wilt, harm ye none. And that witches don't do curses because they come back threefold. Well, I'm sorry, Laurie. You as a witch do not do curses, but other witches do. And it's nothing to do with being evil, being wrong. It's just sometimes it may be an appropriate thing to do for some witches. So I'm just making myself comfortable, feet up. I think I said in the last video, I do not want one witch of a specific path talking for me, speaking for me, or speaking for every witch, because we are such a varied amount. And as I've said before, I have great respect for Laurie Cabot, and much of what she's done has been amazing for the pagan community, for the witchcraft community. She is an incredibly well-read and intelligent woman in the field of witchcraft. But that doesn't make her an expert on every witchcraft path or every witch. And like I said, the video, I only found it yesterday, and it is 10 years old, I do believe. So she would have been in her 70s. Yeah, she would have been in her 70s when she recorded it. 10 years ago, I'm guessing. Well, yes, the internet was still there, and I think your path develops even as technology has developed. Before it was very difficult to be in contact with people with similar beliefs as you from another country, and that is so much easier now. We connect over oceans and thousands of miles and get to know each other and understand each other and find sisters and brothers, spiritually speaking, hundreds and thousands of miles away. And from that we can learn from other people. And yes, Laurie, I know Laurie Cabot wasn't saying don't learn from other people, and maybe part of what she was saying was keep it simple, but basically state out and out that you cannot be eclectic, for me certainly is wrong. If I could not be eclectic, I could not be anything. Because, as I said, I take from many different paths. And it's not that I'm not stealing or misappropriating any particular beliefs within my own. It's just that this is the way I was raised. I do have teachers. I was taught, I was moulded, maybe, to become who I am by my family, rather than by a group of people that are not blood related. So I'm talking about family as in blood family, not just spiritual family. Oh dear, this has gone on much longer than I thought it would. So anyway, basically, much as I agree with much of what Ms. Cabot says, I did not agree with the fact that you cannot mix traditions, you cannot be eclectic. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I know of people who are Christian witches. Now, you can't mix much different traditions than that, but it works for these people, and why shouldn't it? You can use witchcraft and, you know, instead of calling upon deities, you can call upon angels. Personally, I don't call upon deities or angels. It's more a feeling. I don't personify energies, which I think is really what deities can be perceived as. I just found it slightly offensive to some people who are very eclectic and who do have melded paths and traditions, that she should say that that's wrong. And that's all it was, really. I mean, I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. Not on Laurie, like I said, I don't want to hate campaign against Laurie. I certainly do not want to hate campaign against myself for disagreeing with something that she said. Like I say, I respect the woman. I respect her points of view and her beliefs. They're just not for me. And I actually discussed this with an online friend before making this video, and I asked, do you think that I should say anything? And she said, you will get backlash. And then she gave her point of view, which is why I'm not going to say who she is. All she said was that she perhaps thought that Laurie Cabot, for one of her tenets, one of her part of her belief system, says that you cannot charge money for healing, but you can charge money for psychic card readings. I don't know. This is just what I have been told. I will look it up. I should have looked it up beforehand. Anyway, and yet she charges for, I think for her witchcraft course 1 and 2, it's coming on to $1,000. I think it's like nearly $900, something like that. But it's coming on close to $1,000. And it was suggested by, not by me, but by another person, that she has spent most of her life claiming to be a witch just for the money, because it's an easy way to make money. I don't necessarily, easy isn't the word, like I said, I don't necessarily agree that it's an easy way to make money, put it that way. I don't know if she's in it for the money or not. It's not something I've ever thought about, but it does perhaps irk me slightly that she did state this as, that Laurie Cabot stated this as you cannot be eclectic, you choose a tradition and you stick to it. Well, many of us don't have traditions. I'm a hedge witch, but that's not seen necessarily as a tradition, because it's not based on, you know, a specific tenet of beliefs, such as, for instance, certain paths of Wicca, or perhaps Hermeticism, and Laurie's Laurie Cabot. I can't remember. I know it's something to do with witchcraft and science. But anyway, there you go. That was just a point of view that I thought she was, in my opinion, she was wrong to say that you cannot be eclectic and you cannot mix traditions, because I believe you can. Many people do it very successfully, and really by mixing traditions and beliefs, surely you're just expanding your knowledge base and making what's comfortable for you, which is really what witchcraft should be about. Being a witch should be about. I mean, I agree with Laurie when she says, you know, to be a witch you have to have integrity. Yes, you do. But then again, you do to be a Christian, you do to be a Muslim, you do to be, you know, you should have integrity no matter what you are. And if you are a Muslim or a Christian or a Catholic or a Jew or anything else, you should be proud of who you are. Same as you should be proud of being a witch. And so for a lot of what she says, yes. But for not being able to be eclectic and for not moulding any traditions, no, I can't agree with that. And that was just it. So that's it. Shutting up now. I do have another video to make, and I will hopefully make that tonight. We shall see. Thank you for being here and watching and listening to my ramblings again, witchy people. Blessings to you all. I shall be back very soon. Bye for now.